All right, everyone. Hello and welcome in. It is Wednesday, my dudes, and thank you for joining me today for the return of the weekly Pickem series here on my channel, Skull Ohio. It is week 10 of NFL action. I can't believe it's week 10 already, and we're kicking off week 10 in the most tumultuous way that I could possibly imagine with the most recent 24-hour news cycle for the Minnesota Vikings and the rest of the league. So, but more so the Minnesota Vikings. Some dark and gloomy stuff looms our way for the rest of the season. But today we're talking about my picks for this week of NFL action. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? If you are new here, and there's a couple new people here this week, this is the whiteboard. Say hello. This is a nice little visual aid that I've constructed so that you can follow along at home. As I make my selections, I will indicate which teams that I am going to be choosing to win each game with little team pendants, and so they will be placed on the board, and you can keep track that way. Now, this is just head-to-head. As always, I am not picking against the spread. There is no points. The same rule applies to whose line is it anyway. The points don't matter. They're just made up, and I don't pay attention to them. So, before we get into picking this weekend's games, let's talk about last weekend and how I did for one of the craziest weekends of NFL action that we've seen recently. Like, week 9 was all over the place. Let's be honest. I am happy to walk away with a 7-7 record picking games last week because I thought it was going to be way worse, but it was okay. So the teams that I got right were the Colts, the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Ravens, Chargers, Cardinals, and Steelers. The teams that I got wrong were the Bengals, Cowboys, Saints, Raiders, Bills, Packers, and the Rams. So for week 9, I went 7-7, picking head-to-head for each NFL game. Overall on the season, I'm a very respectable 81-55. Had a couple of bad weeks prior to going 500 this week, but, I'm going to take that. It's a little bit of a step in the right direction. Let's see if we can continue that, get back to the winning ways that I had in the first half of the season. And we begin with Thursday Night Football, the Dolphins and the Raiders, with unlikely, I would say, Tua Tagovailoa plays in this game. And, it's kind of bizarre that the Dolphins were able to get a win last week, although they were playing the Houston Texans. I expected Jacoby Brissett to play a little worse than what he did, but a win is a win, and it doesn't matter how you get it. This isn't college football. So between the Dolphins and the Ravens, unfortunately, I'm going to go with the Ravens based off what I've seen with just them playing against the Minnesota Vikings last week. I think they're a legit contender, too good of a football team. The Dolphins are trying to claw their way out of the basement with only their second win of the season coming against one of the worst teams in the league. So I don't think that they're on the upswing. They're still trying to figure themselves out. Their offensive line is really horrible. So I would not bet against the Ravens this week. Next, we have the Falcons and the Cowboys. MVP, or unsung hero, I guess, because he'll never win an MVP award, but the unsung hero of the NFL season is Cordero Patterson. He's the X factor, the secret weapon. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to say the Falcons steal this one and they get to 5-4. Like, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I expected this team to go nowhere. Calvin Ridley has been absent. They're struggling with the offensive line, but they seem to be figuring it out. And Matt Ryan is having quietly one of the better seasons that we're seeing this year from a quarterback. So I'm going to chalk this up as an upset over the Cowboys for the Atlanta Falcons, and they're going to get another win. Next, we move on to the Saints and the Titans. The Saints are likely going to be starting Trevor Siemian at quarterback. Jameis Winston has been lost for the season. And the Titans had quite the statement game last week against the Rams without Derrick Henry. So it looks like they might be okay. I'm going to continue to go with the hot hand for this one because Trevor Siemian throwing to that group of wide receivers, I don't think is going to cut it. I think the Saints are in for a little bit of a tough pill to swallow this weekend. So I'm going to go with the Titans over the Saints for week 10. Next, we have the Jaguars and the Colts, both coming off a win last week. The Jaguars with a surprise, low-score, ugly game win over the Buffalo Bills. Did not see that coming at all. Trevor Lawrence is going to be a good quarterback, and it's unfair to really evaluate him this season because the rest of the team around him is just hot garbage. I just watch the film, and it's true. The Colts, on the other hand, look like they're a team that is on the cusp, and Carson Wentz is playing good enough where they're going to be able to figure things out. And Jonathan Taylor is going to be one of the best running backs in the league if he isn't already. So I can't really pick the Jaguars in this instance. I'm going to go with the Colts to win this week just based on all of that. Next, we have the Browns and the Patriots. Browns find themselves in an unfortunate situation where they will not have almost any of their starting running backs for this week's game. I think the last one that they have left that can play, who is not on IR or has been placed on COVID reserve is Felton, if I remember that correctly. Nick Chubb has tested positive for COVID, and he has the window of opportunity to come back if he has the 2 negative tests in X amount of hours because he is vaccinated, so he is not automatically out for this game. I still think even if he plays, you're going up against Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and the Bill Belichick method of beating teams is taking away your best weapon. And Nick Chubb is arguably their best weapon. I think the defensive strategy for Bill Belichick this week is going to force Baker Mayfield to throw the ball and make Baker Mayfield beat you, and not this run game that, if going unchecked, can definitely put you in the loss column. So I'm going to say the Patriots have the edge. They're also in the Odell Beckham sweepstakes. maybe Odell Beckham signs with the Patriots just this week just to get the revenge game out of the way. So we'll see what happens with that. Next, we have the Bills and the Jets. Credit to the Jets for actually, looking competent recently. And, Bills, what the hell are you doing? Like, come on. You couldn't beat the Jacksonville Jaguars? Like, that should have been one of those wins where it's like Alabama plays Chattanooga. Come on, give me a break here. But, that's why you play the game. Any given Sunday, things can happen. So I'm going to go with the Bills. This is a get-right game for them. It's a divisional rival. I think they're more aware of the hardships the Jets are facing this season. They'll be more prepared, and they'll figure things out. They've got a chip on their shoulder now. They've got to prove that what happened last week is not going to happen again. Next, we have the Lions and the Steelers, and watching the Steelers play the Bears on Monday night, it's almost like they're figuring themselves out too. Quietly a winning record. I think they're 5-3 or 5-4 right now. So they're in the playoff hunt with the rest of the AFC because the AFC is just so top heavy. All the teams are just beating up on each other. But the thing is, having lived in the dual market that I've lived in for my entire life, where I am smack dab between Browns country and Steelers country, the Steelers just do this thing where they play down to their opponent, very similar to the Minnesota Vikings, and sometimes they walk away with these weird scoring games, like it's like 15-19 or it's like 13-8, just the weirdest scores imaginable and the weirdest game flow imaginable. And the Lions are coming off a bye week. It'll be a short week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This may be the last time that I do this, unless I just am in the insane asylum by the time that the Vikings play the Lions again. But I don't know. This is going to be my one weird one for the week. I've been trying to call their first win of the season. It hasn't happened. It probably won't, but I'm going to go for it because what's the fun in just picking the favorites all the time, right? Next, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington football team. This time, I'm definitely going with the favorite here. Do not bet against Tom Brady. It has burned me in the past when I have tried. No reason to do that anymore. We have the Cardinals and the Panthers next. Sam Darnold is going on IR. He will miss 4 games. PJ Walker is his team now, I guess. The Panthers are in shambles, and the Cardinals seem to be a well-oiled machine given the fact that they're coming off a win where they didn't have their starting quarterback, their best wide receiver, and their starting running back, and they won a game with Colt freaking McCoy. Are you kidding me? Panthers, you have no chance. Give me a break. I'm probably going to regret saying that, but at the same time, I don't believe it. Next, we have the Vikings and the Chargers. Justin Herbert completed passes to 9 different wide receivers last week. We have a pass defense that is anchored by Cam Dantzler and Bashaud Breeland. That is not going to be good enough, and especially with the fact that Bashaud Breeland could potentially be injured. He was spotted in practice today with his helmet on, so he's probably going to be fine. We don't have Danielle Hunter to rush the passer anymore, and it doesn't look like Michael Pierce is going to be available for this week either. They're saying he is a long shot to play, was not practicing today. The Chargers do have a leaky run defense. Dalvin Cook, given all of the things that are going on with him right now, probably will play. I don't know. The fact that it's in LA doesn't make a difference to me because Vikings fans travel well. Chargers don't have a lot of home fans anyway. I'm going to say the Chargers anyway, just because I just don't believe it. There's nothing that the Vikings have shown me these past 2 weeks that could give me a vote of confidence to confidently pick them in this series, at least not right now. Although, however, I will say this is the point of the season. If you remember about a month ago, I made a how is the rest of the season going to play out for the Minnesota Vikings video where I went through the remaining schedule and chalked up which games were going to be wins and which games were going to be losses. Now, so far, I've been accurate. We won the game against the Panthers. We lost against the Cowboys and the Ravens. I called this a month ago an upset game. So I could be wrong here, but I'm going to swing it and say that it's going to be the Chargers, just because that's how I'm feeling right now about this team. This team gives me no hope in its current state, just no hope at all. Next, we have the Broncos and the Eagles. Teddy Bridgewater quietly having a decent season. The Eagles are loudly a mess. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos at home to win another one. Free Javonte Williams already. Why are we messing around with Melvin Gordon still at this point in the season? Javonte Williams looks like the real deal. And this isn't because he's on my fantasy team. Yes, he is. This isn't that. It has nothing to do with that. It's just that I think that he's a really dynamic running back who's going to be successful, and they just need to give him the opportunity, right? Just let him free. Free him now. Next, we have the Seahawks and the Packers. Russell Wilson is going to be coming back, I believe, for this game. So will Aaron Rodgers. We're a few days out. I picked the Packers to win last week, not knowing that Aaron Rodgers was going to miss that game. So that's kind of the risk that you take doing this on a Wednesday. But I do it to get ahead of the Thursday night game so that I don't have to worry about uploading tomorrow and being late. So, it's a weird, I put myself in a weird position regarding that. But the fact that they're probably all going to be back, and it also looks like the Packers are part of the Odell Beckham Jr. sweepstakes, at least as of this recording. We'll see. I'll pin the comment if he signs today. The top comment will be where he ends up. But for this, I'm going to go with the Packers. I can't see them losing 2 in a row. The Seahawks defense is not good. Even with Russell Wilson, I don't believe that this team is capable of doing very much. But it'll just be a different dynamic with him back at the quarterback position. Even still, Packers at home at this point in the year, I think it's too hard for them to overcome. Packers win. 2 games left. We've got the Raiders and the Chiefs. Chiefs sneak one away from the Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers last week in a forgettable game. It's one that we circled at the beginning of the season thinking it was going to be great, high scoring, lots of great quarterback play between Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. One of those guys was absent. The other guy is just having a really down season. So I'm going to go with the Raiders in this one. I think the Raiders are the better football team right now. They're a little bit more well-adjusted on offense, and I think Darren Waller will have a big day against a Chiefs defense that is ripe for the picking that Jordan Love just couldn't do. And last but not least, we have the Rams, and we have the 49ers. The 49ers are an enigma this season, and I think that we got to start having a serious conversation about whether or not Kyle Shanahan needs to be fired as well as John Lynch, because they have they got to the one Super Bowl, they lost, and ever since then it's just been a struggle bus for them. Injuries have taken their toll, players haven't worked out. I don't understand the Brandon Ayuk situation whatsoever, and it just seems to be they're struggling to figure out who to play at quarterback. Now, obviously, I don't think Trey Lance is ready, but how far are you going to really get with Jimmy Garoppolo? On the other side of the football, the Rams come off this browbeating against the Titans. And, I think that this is going to be a get-right game for them. The 49ers are not as intimidating as they were at the beginning of the season, or at least preseason. So I'm going to go with the Rams for this one to close out Week 10, Monday Night Football. This goes there. Let's make sure I got all my tags right this time, because there's been a few videos where I turn around and they're not correctly, and somebody's pointing them out in the comments. But that's going to do it for this video. Those are my selections for Week 10. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Share your picks as well. That's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.